Hi, it's Cory, and today you're gonna learn how to play Ode to Joy on the ukulele. So for this tutorial, you're gonna be learning how to pick the individual pitches that make up the main, most recognizable part of Ode to Joy. So the part that I'm talking about is the like ba da 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 da. We're not going into like the da 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 da, like all the rest of it afterwards, just that main kind of section that most people find recognizable. So let's get started. First thing you're gonna wanna make sure is that your ukulele is in tune. That is a G on the 4th string, a C on the 3rd string, an E on the 2nd string, and an A on the 4th string. Once it's in tune, you'll be ready to get started. Now, one thing you're gonna want to do before kind of tackling something with a picking pattern typically is be aware of where your fingers are going to go. So I'd recommend, if you're not already familiar with how to pick the C major scale, I actually do have a video just right here that you can go to that talks all about how to pick that C major scale and where those individual pitches are. Now, what's nice about this song is this section of the song, it's a pretty short little blurb that only uses the pitches C, D, E, F, and G. So that's only 5 pitches that you need to know where to pick. And so that's a really good place to get started. First thing we're gonna do is go through and review what those 5 pitches are and where they are on the ukulele. And then we'll talk about the rhythm and the counting of the piece. And then we'll get through a play along. So the first pitch that you're gonna need to know for the ukulele is the C, or the pitch of C. What's really nice for this particular pitch is you don't have to do anything with your left hand. It's just going to be this 3rd string right here. And that's an open C, so that's just going to be where that pitch will be. The next pitch we're gonna need is a D. Now, the D is going to be on the 3rd string as well. The only difference is you're gonna take your 2nd finger and place it on the 2nd fret on that 3rd string. And that's the D. So if you can hear, we're moving a whole step up from the C to the D. If you're familiar with solfege, that's going do, re. The next pitch we're going to need is an E. Now what's nice is the E is open on the ukulele, so it's going to be the 2nd string, and that sounds like this. And that is the Mi of the scale, so far we have C, D, E, or do, re, mi, if you're familiar with solfege. The next pitch is going to be the F. Now the F is a half step up from E, and so that's going to be your 1st finger still on that 2nd string, but you're just going to place it on the 1st fret on that 2nd string. So you can hear it's just that little bit going up. So again, so far we have C, D, E, F. And then the last pitch you're gonna need to know is a G. And that's also gonna take place on the E string, or the 2nd string. And that's gonna be with your 3rd finger, and you're gonna place it on the 3rd fret and then pluck. All right, that's that G, or the So. So we have C, D, E, F, G. All right, or in solfege, it's do, re, mi, fa, sol. And that's it. That's all you have to know. The only strings you're working with are this 3rd string and the 2nd string. We're not even plucking on the A or the G. And for that plucking, you can just use your thumb to pluck everything. If you wanted to get advanced, you could switch between the thumb and the 1st finger. That would be fine too. You could have use your thumb for the C and the D, and then you could use your pointer finger or your 1st finger for the E, F, and G. I'll just be using my thumb for all of them though, because it's a pretty short piece and you don't really have to do anything too much more fancy. So I like to think of this little melody chunk in 2 parts. The first part, which is the da 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 da. that's the first part, and then I think of it as a second part. Da 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 da, which is the second part. Now what's really great is you might notice that the only difference here is the last measures of each part, which really helps us when we're thinking about what we need to learn. Essentially, if you can learn the first 3 measures of both of those little sections, you have over almost like all of the song learned already. All you'll have to really do is just learn how each one ends. So looking at the pitches, let's really take a look at that first section first. So you can see it on the screen here that first we start on an E, and you see that with the quarter note, and our time signature is 4/4. So that means our quarter note is getting 1 beat. So typically when we're playing, we feel that beat. So if I were to sing this rhythm as I'm tapping here, or maybe snapping is a little bit easier to hear, it would go like this. 1, 2, here we go, and da, 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 da. You could hear that every single time I snapped and you saw a quarter note, my snaps and quarter notes were lining up. You could also see that as the arrow was moving along too with each pitch. Pitch-wise, that first line that we're starting on, if you don't already know what the lines and spaces of this treble clef is, the first line starts on an E. In other words, that's the same pitch as the second string on the ukulele. So we start with E, E, then we move to an F, that's the first space, or where that third quarter note is in that first measure. And then we move to a G, and then moving to the second measure, we have G again, it's repeated, move back to the F, to the E, then down to a D. So now when we're on that D, we're moving back to that third string position on the second fret, and then in the third measure, we have a C, C, back up to the D, to the E then, repeat the E, and then we end that measure on D, D, and then a quarter rest. Now you notice that in this measure, we also have a different rhythm. We have a dotted quarter note. What the dotted quarter note means is it receives the full beat of a regular quarter note plus half of its duration. So half of what a quarter note equals is half a beat. So when you add a beat plus a half a beat, it's worth a beat and a half. So you're going to hear 2 snaps, and then halfway through that second snap, it's not going to get the full duration. You'll have that D, which is on an 8th note, and then ending on a quarter note D, followed by a quarter rest. 1, 2, here we go. E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, E, D, D. Now let's take a look at part 2. Okay, so what's great about part 2, as you can see, measures 1 through 3 are exactly the same. We have the E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, and then rather than repeating the E back to the D, D, instead, after that E on the last beat of the third measure, we're just gonna go back down to D and then C, C. What's really great though is the rhythm of the last measure, or measure 4 in the second part here, is the exact same rhythm as measure 4 in the first part of the song too. Again, the only thing that's changing are the pitches that you're using, okay? Because we did just practice those. Let's take a look at that last measure. So we're gonna start on that D, and again, it's gonna be the same pattern as the last measure of the last example of ba, 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 rest. But instead, we're going to be on a D from here. So we're moving from this open E here to the D, D, and then C, C. So make sure to get your finger up when you get there. D, C, C. So now we're going to try the entire second part. 1, 2, here we go. E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, D, C, C. Let's try the entire example. So starting back at measure 1 of the entire thing, both parts all together. So the whole 8 measures. 1, 2, here we go. E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, E, D, D, rest, E, E, F, G, G, F, E, D, C, C, D, E, D, C, C. Now you can obviously go slower than the tempo I was providing, but I don't recommend going too much slower. I mean, obviously if you're practicing and you're just kind of starting off, increase the speed over time, but you don't want to go too much slower, otherwise the main melody won't be recognizable. So again, sticking with something of that E, E, F, G, that's a pretty good tempo to take. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, make sure to subscribe and give the video a like. If there are any other fun melodies that you would like to know how to pick, make sure to comment down below so I can know what you would like to see for videos. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.